Hi, everybody. Craig Shacklett from URComped here. I've got a very special guest. This is a channel that is just exploding. They're putting out really unique content. And it was actually, I kept hearing about it from URComped members. That's like, hey, you got to check out Cowboy Slots. You got to reach out to them, see if we can get an interview. And sure enough, we did. So Brantley from Cowboy Slots, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So before we get started, why don't we let everyone know where can they find you? What channels are you on? Tell us about your website. What are your coordinates?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously Cowboy Slots on YouTube, that's our bread and butter. That's where all of the full-length videos are. That's where pretty much all of the really good information is, all of our main videos. YouTube is the primary focus. We also do have a Facebook page. We do have a TikTok page. But we also have our own in-house website, which is ropethejackpot.com. And one thing that we do that is very unique is we actually have a very, very large community, our own in-house chat forum on that website where users from all across the world can come in and not only interact with our channel, but also interact with other people. So what we're finding is that viewers are coming on and they're asking like, hey, I'm getting ready to visit Maryland or Jersey, and I'm looking for this particular slot machine. And tons of other people are coming in and, saying, oh, this is where you can find it. People are doing, forming their own meetup groups, sharing their testimonials, all of that. We actually now have over 20,000 people just on that forum. So it's very, very active. So that again is ropethejackpot.com. So that and Cowboy Slots, of course, on YouTube is the primary.
And it's so impressive how your community and your channel has grown. Tell us about how did you get started? Like how did you decide to enter this increasingly crowded world of slot content?
Well, for me, it was really honestly, it was an accident. I did not plan on starting a channel. I did not plan on, going viral or anything like that. I had originally found another channel that I really liked. I was literally bored at home one day, and I started watching slot videos and found a channel that I really liked, Stacy's High Limit Slots, and decided to just reach out to her to talk to her a little bit. And then I was like, I've noticed that there's no actual casino employees on YouTube. There's none. There's no one that really talks about this stuff. So I made a video. It was a very crude, bad video at first because I knew absolutely nothing about YouTube or even this entire world, and it started going crazy. It took off, and I just decided to, hey, there's might be something here. So come out with a couple more videos and stuff, start showing people a little bit more behind the scenes aspects, education, and it took off from there, and I'm happy it did.
Now, was there one video, like was it just kind of a slow, steady growth the entire time, or was there one piece of content you put out that just took off and like, oh my gosh, maybe we're onto something here?
It was a little mix of both. We've had steady growth since for the past 2 years. We've had a consistent growth rate for 2 years. We've had a couple different videos that have gone viral at this point, but I think the first one was the original. It was a video about just general slot myths and casino superstitions and stuff like that that really took off at first.
Now, what can you tell my mother who is convinced that if she puts her player's card in, it changes the odds of the game because they'll know you and they know she can't get a jackpot after that? What would you tell my mom?
Oh yeah, that's a big one. People obviously casinos and gambling, it's an emotional thing. As human beings, we're emotional creatures. It's a huge psychological game. But rest assured, I can tell her that those two systems are not it is not connected to the logic portion of the game. It has no influence on the game, the random number generator, anything like that. That's completely jailed off away from the player's card. The player's card is really just a read-only system. So those two do not communicate. I know a lot of people out there feel that it does, but not playing with your card, you're losing comps, which are really, really valuable in the casino world and in the gambling world. So play with your card. It's always smart to play with your card. You're only hurting yourself by not playing with your card.
I hope you're listening, Mom. So speaking of Mom, it's funny when you start putting out content, Uh, I assume it's the same for you as it was for me. It's kind of like you feel like you're putting out in a vacuum. And then even though you see numbers growing, it's like, whatever, it just doesn't seem real. But then you get recognized out in the real world by somebody, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's a surreal experience. Do you remember the first time that you were recognized in real life by a fan?
Absolutely. It was relatively early on in the channel. The first time was actually in Wendover, West Wendover, Nevada, which we have a massive amount of following in the northern Nevada area, which is absolutely crazy. Vegas, of course, we get recognized very rarely. At this point in the channel's history, at this point in the channel's timeline, it's really rare to not get recognized when I do go to a casino, no matter where it's at. But the first time was actually in West Wendover, Nevada. That was the very first time.
Wow, right over the border of Utah. Where, yeah,
Right over the border.
Utah, and so everyone pours right into West Wendover. So anybody that knows you already, they know how unique your content is. But for folks that aren't familiar with Cowboy Slots, explain how it's so different than 99% of the channels out there. What makes Cowboy Slots unique?
Right. Well, the biggest thing that makes Cowboy Slots unique is I have done this job. I've been in the industry for a very long time. I've done a lot of different aspects inside of the industry, not only working with casino properties. Currently, I am a field technician, so that's what I do presently as a job. But in the past, I've also worked very closely with a lot of game makers. I've been in the design studios, all of those super secret rooms that people talk about. We joked about it, I think, early on in an episode of, what really goes on in those super secret back rooms. And, it's, I tell people, I'm like, there's really nothing back there, maybe some, muffins that Martha brought in, for a birthday party on Friday. But, the biggest difference between Cowboy Slots and the other channels is the fact that I have been in the industry and I've done the job myself. And this is something that I'm very involved in. I still do the job to this day. There's no guesswork, so to speak. So there's so many myths and superstitions and rumors about how the industry works. And the biggest thing, and this is the biggest impact that Cowboy Slots has had, is by believing those myths and rumors, it can cause a player to have a very, very negative impact, not just on their playing experience, but also on their wallet. And responsible gambling is something that I take very seriously on the channel. And it is something that if you play responsibly and if you understand and if you know how this stuff works, you're going to have a better time. And you're going to want to come back to the casino because you had a positive experience. So that's the biggest thing with Cowboy Slots is factual, true information. There's no guesswork. There's no guesswork here.
Now, you mentioned that you're a field technician, and for folks that aren't in the industry, they may be wondering what is a field technician. So maybe you can explain real quick what a field technician is.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as a field technician, just like with any other aspects of jobs or careers, there's different levels. A field technician is essentially somebody. I don't work for one particular casino. I get dispatched out to various casinos when there is a problem or an issue. I go and check on properties. I have an area, see if there's any games that are down, do repairs and stuff like that. More intensive repairs that can't be done really in-house or that require parts that the casino maybe is having difficulty ordering. That's what a field technician does.
Nice. So obviously this is the guy that knows everything about the game. You literally know the ins and outs of all these slot machines because you take them apart and put them back together. So what type of content do you feel like your audience engages the most with?
It would have to be a mix. I think the biggest is going to be the educational aspect. People like Cowboy Slots for the education, but also for the fact that they know that they're getting it from a reliable, good source, a person that's actually done the job. That I'm not just some guy that's guessing of, oh, I think this is how it works. No, I know how it works because it's my career. This is what I do for a living. I do it every day. So people love that educational aspect. Of course, things like the myth busting. But gamblers are, they're very superstitious. Gamblers are very leery of a lot of things. And I think hearing it from somebody that has actually done it and has the experience to back it up, it really kind of shines at that point, and that's what really makes the videos take off. The other thing that a lot of gamblers really enjoy watching content wise on Cowboy Slots is we do a lot of game reviews and property reviews, because we can break down not only just the technical aspect of the game, but how it feels to the player and really give a different perspective. Because I'm not just the player, but I can tell you, like, hey, like, this is a great game to play and it's fun, but let's check those game rules and I can explain that to you. Because a lot of the game rules on some of these new games can get very, very complicated, and a lot of people don't understand the games. So I can kind of break it down for them and say, okay, this is what this means. This is how this game works, so on and so forth. And people really like that and enjoy that.
So what is your favorite slot game right now?
Oh man. Well, my personal favorite, has always been pinball. Pinball is a personal favorite of mine. You're going to see pinball a lot on Cowboy Slots. But I tell you what, 2023 and 2024 has been an amazing year for the gaming industry. All of the manufacturers have really pulled out all of the stops to develop and bring some amazing games to the market. I've been super impressed with games like Frankenstein from Light and Wonder, for example, Mo Mummy from Aristocrat, Mystery of the Lamp from IGT. These have all been amazing titles that have come out just in the past couple of years. So it's really hard to say just one, but pinball is, of course, going to be my favorite ultimate go-to game.
And you also mentioned that you do property reviews, maybe without specifying any properties, but are there certain amenities that always you're like, oh, I love it when they have this, or what really makes a property pop in your eyes?
So for me, the biggest thing that carries the most weight on any property review that I do is customer service. Customer service is going to carry the bulk of the grade. The reason being is because customer service is really what can make or break somebody's experience. And I try to look at it from every angle. A property can have the best food and the best comps and everything like that. But if the staff is rude or the staff takes too long or something like that, it can ruin the experience. So for me, customer service is the biggest thing that I look at whenever I review a property. And there are a lot of times that I'll go to a property and I won't say I'm coming or anything like that. I just go into the property and I'll kind of walk around and I'll judge it on a lot of different factors. Amenities wise though, there are some properties out there that are definitely a lot better in terms of comps, reward points, stuff like that. Every casino does it very, very differently. And I know, like in Vegas, it's constantly evolving, constantly changing, but there's a lot. But customer service would be the biggest one.
Nice. I love hearing that. So, how do you think, you're obviously at the forefront, you got a channel that's exploding, and really the industry, if you call influencer marketing and industry, is growing in the casino space. Casinos tend to be not early adopters when it comes to new trends. They like to wait and see. But that being said, influencer marketing is growing. You see more and more casinos allowing filming and even encouraging it. So how do you think it's going to evolve influencer marketing over the next few years with casinos?
I think it's definitely going to evolve for the positive. I think it's going to evolve for the better. We're seeing a lot more casinos coming on board with not just influencer marketing, but also wanting to speak to folks like myself. I do a lot of interviews with casino executives. I've done wonderful interviews with game designers. Some really, really awesome fun with that. Players, club representatives, stuff like that. So I think casinos are starting to get on board with that. I think we can really see it grow. And obviously now we live in a day and an age where everybody has a cell phone, everybody has a camera at all times. You really can't enforce or stop it at that point. There is not an expectation of privacy when you're in public, of course, but I know casinos are still very they want to still keep the privacy of their guests, which a good influencer will honor that. Anytime that we're filming in a casino, we always try to do our best to either have the background blurred or have faces blurred or something like that, just out of respect for privacy. So I think that we can definitely see it growing. A lot of casinos are opening up to it, but I can also understand why casinos are hesitant for that, not just with the privacy reasons, but also anything that might be security sensitive or anything of that nature. So we can definitely see some changes, but as you were saying, yes, casinos can be very slow to adapt to that.
So what would you, let's say there's a casino executive that's watching right now and they've been on the fence, they've been debating whether or not to go in with casino or with influencer marketing. What would you say to them? What's a good first step to get involved with influencer marketing?
I think the first step would be to, you know, obviously the influencer should be respectful of every casino's properties rules. One common question that I get asked a lot is, can I just walk in and start filming? And my answer is always, well, you really need to ask. So I think to answer your question, if a casino executive is watching, maybe talk to whoever the head of security is, head of surveillance, slot floor director, and try to see like, okay, if somebody asks to film, maybe have a ground rule stipulation saying, okay, well, the camera can only be on the machine. You can't film tables and you can't film other people or general areas of the casino, as long as there's that mutual understanding there. Most influencers are very respectful of that. So I would start with that of just really communication is key. It goes back to that element, talking to all of the departments, getting everybody on board with the same answer. Because even a lot of the properties out there that do allow filming, there's still times where, one person that happens to be on duty with security didn't get the message, and they come up and then they interrupt the video, and it can actually look really bad for the casino when that happens. So I think communication, getting everybody on the same page, putting out an internal memo, something like that, but having still that list of ground rules for the influencer to follow is really going to be a key to success.
Now, are there any other concerns beyond, you mentioned privacy, security? Are there any other concerns that you hear casino executives voice when it comes to having influencers in?
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest concerns, and this came up at a few different properties, and it's kind of come down since then, and that is there was a trend for a little bit. I think I can't remember the platform that put a stop to it, but where people were gambling with other people's money that was being sent into them. Obviously, that can be a Title 31 issue right there. If you're in the casino, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But that can be an issue. Making sure that me personally, I don't do things like virtual group polls, anything like that. It can get very sticky and dicey. So making sure that influencers are not doing things like that, or if an influencer does want to do a group poll, that it's in a controlled setting, that it's in a controlled environment, and that the casino knows and can verify that each participant is in fact there. Make sure that there's safeguards in place. That's the only thing that I could see that is really a concern, is just making sure, because there are a few people that have ruined it for the rest of the influencers out there. Unfortunately, 99% of the influencers that a casino is going to meet, they're amazing people, wonderful people. They produce excellent content. I myself watch a ton of them, but there are a couple bad eggs out there. And I think that's where having that set of ground rules and just the casino being aware of what's going on, maybe knowing the right questions to ask, like, okay, are you playing with your money? Making sure that they are playing, in fact, with their own money, that they're not, taking money from the internet to play on behalf of somebody else, stuff like that. So yeah, there are some areas of concern, but it's not as widespread or big as I think a lot of casinos would feel that it would be. It's really not a common thing. Like I said, 99% of influencers out there, they're wonderful people. They just want to record their slot play and share it with the world. And hey, it's free advertising for the casino. You can think of it like that. Somebody's wanting to play a game. If they happen to hit a big jackpot or something like that, now everybody's going to want to go to that casino and play that game. So there's a lot of benefit. The benefit and the pros outweigh the cons for sure.
So a casino executive is hearing this, they're fired up. They're like, I want Cowboy Slots to come out here. What should a casino do to make sure that they get the maximum ROI, maximum visibility from working with you, for example?
Yeah. So definitely for me, I like to pre-plan everything, have everything planned out well in advance. So if there is a casino property that I know that I'm going to go to, I like to advertise it well in advance. So that way people can make travel arrangements, they can make plans. I like to kind of sit down and do a brainstorm session with either the marketing director, slot director, management with the casino to find out, hey, like what's something special and unique that we could do here, and come up with a collective plan. And that does help with ROI because now you've got something. It's not just me coming in with a camera saying, hey, can I record my slot play? No, now you've got a full plan in action of this is what we're going to do, this is when we're going to do it. And put everything in writing, make it settled so that way everybody's on the same page, and everything runs smoothly. So that would be definitely a big thing to do, is just pre-plan, pre-game, get everything ready, um, and just really sit down and have a conversation. I personally like to, any casino property that I work with, I like to sit down and ask the management, what are your goals? Are your goals to highlight certain games? Are your goals to, highlight an event, or a restaurant? I'll ask questions like, a couple questions that I've asked casinos in the past is, what games on your floor aren't performing right now? Like, what are some underperforming games? And I'll list them down and I'll go look at them and see, like, okay, how can I explain this game better? Like, is there a reason why people aren't playing it? How can I explain it better, to get more eyeballs on it? I'll ask them things like, how is your restaurant? Is your restaurant something that you want highlighted? Stuff like that is really, really important because you can incorporate all of that. So, um, instead of just a blanket like, hey, can I come in with a camera? No, now we've got a plan of action to really, really make an event, make it sparkle, make it shine, and make it work. And that's the best way to get the best return on investment possible.
I love it. I love it. So, what are you, just to wrap things up, what are you most excited about with Cowboy Slots for the next year?
Over the next year with Cowboy Slots, I'm really excited to work a lot closer with game developers, with different casino properties, with manufacturers, all of that. Like I said, I love showing people all the aspects of the games that they didn't even really ever think of. So there's been so many new games that have come out onto the market that have just been absolutely incredible, and we're super excited for. There's some more games in the works that are going to be really, really special and really cool. We're excited to show those off, and just really just getting everybody on the same page to be better educated about the casino. I think we're definitely on the right track for getting people to be more responsible and have fun at the casino. And what we found just in doing what I've done with Cowboy Slots is that if people are more educated, if they know what's going on with the games, if they know, and that's probably the biggest thing I could tell a casino out there is if players are open to it, if the casino is transparent about this is what's going on, this is how the games work, stuff like that, players feel more comfortable, they feel more confident, and they want to play more. And when they do play more, now they've learned to limit their losses. Now they've learned to play responsibly. And what inevitably happens is, yeah, you're not going to win every single time that you go into a casino. And that's definitely not what we teach. Um, but even if you do have a losing day, if you do have a losing session, you come out with a positive feeling of, well, okay, I lost, but I had fun. I took my breaks that, Cowboy Slot says to take breaks. I took my breaks. I checked out that restaurant. I checked out the gift shop. I, went to the pool. I did something like that. And I had a great time doing it. And what's going to happen? They're going to want to come back to the casino because they have a positive memory and now they don't have a negative memory. They didn't go into the casino thinking, oh, they flipped a switch and changed everything on me, or my player's card made me lose. No, like now they're enjoying it. They're having fun, and they're being more responsible. And that's the biggest thing about Cowboy Slots that we teach.
I love it. I love it. Well, if my mom was here, I would love to like go another hour because she has, I think she's your stereotypical uh, person that has every superstition. But I know you're busy. We got to wrap this up. But before we go, again, a casino executive's watching this, they want to bring Cowboy Slots in. What's the best way to get a hold of you?
Absolutely. So the best way to reach me is through the website, which is ropethejackpot.com. We do have a contact page on there, especially for marketing or events. Anybody can request an event. I also encourage other casinos to go on the forums and check out what people are saying on the forums. We do have everything broken down by state. We also have everything broken down by country. So I think our second most popular country is Canada. We have a lot of Canadian viewers in there that are interacting every single day. We have people on the forums that are creating their own maps of casinos all across the countries and sharing their favorite games and where they're at. It's crazy insane. But our website, which is ropethejackpot.com, is the absolute best way to contact me.
All right. And one more time for the players that are watching, the URComp members, where can they find your content?
Best place to find the content, of course, is on YouTube, which is Cowboy Slots on YouTube. That's the best place to find all of the videos, all of the full-length episodes, and more.
Well, Brantley, Cowboy Slots, this was super informative. I really enjoyed it, and I know a lot of people enjoyed it as well. So thank you, and let's do it again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciated it.